Good evening. They say that what makes you different can be a burden, but it's not. It's what makes you great. And tonight, we celebrate at CAOC what we have cultivated for years. You excellent trial lawyers, as we should. It's so personally gratifying to be sworn in the city of my birth. I was born just a few miles from here in the Haight-Ashbury in the 70s into a family that taught me you have a voice. If you can help people, you should. And you should always fight for a seat at the table. I'm proud to be the 58th president of CAOC. I'm also only the 6th female president. And I owe a debt of gratitude to the woman, my friends, my mentors who have come before me. To Mary Alexander, to Christine Spagnoli, to Sharon Arkin, to Elise Sanguinetti, thank you for the battles you've waged, the barriers you've broken, and the paths you have paved for me and others like me. But there's more work to be done. It was important to me to increase diversity amongst our ranks, and we've done a great job on the executive committee. Next year, we're going to have our first Asian American president, who happens to be a woman. And a few short years after that, we're going to have our first president who openly identifies as gay. It was important to me so long ago to be a leader in CAOC because I wanted to demonstrate a path towards leadership. It is all within your reach. I hope over the next year to model a path to success to anyone in this room who wants to be in leadership because you're important and you belong here. You don't have to come from a traditional background. You don't have to come from a big fancy firm. You just have to have a passion for justice and a commitment to helping your brothers and sisters in this organization. And I want to remind us all that diversity is one thing, but inclusion in the power structure is something totally different. Yeah. And for as long as I can remember, I had a vague sense of being the other. Shortly after I was born, my parents and I moved to Haiku, Maui, where we adopted the aloha spirit and a respect for Maui's sacred lands. But although we lived on the land, we were not of the land. And we were never overtly discriminated against, but we were called Hapahaole, which means half Hawaiian and half other, signifying partial belonging. And from my time on Maui as a child, I learned to appreciate civil rights. I learned the hula, and I learned and believed that girls should be like pineapples. Stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside. Shortly after we moved back to the mainland, I traded in my hula grass skirt for point shoes and became a ballerina. I went to a school for creative and performing arts, and I danced with several companies in California and New York. And then, in my senior year of high school, a woman who I had danced with for almost 10 years, Amber Clark, a beautiful girl with a bright future and a perfect pirouette, was brutally murdered, stabbed to death, and sexually assaulted in her home along with her mother by a man who became known as the Claremont serial killer. Amber became my inspiration to fight for women and girls and victims of sexual assault. I knew then there was much work to do. About a year later, in my first year in college, first semester, I was glued to the television watching Anita Hill testify. She told America that Clarence Thomas had sexually harassed her when he was her supervisor. I was floored by her courage and incensed by the way she was treated by those committee members. The men on the committee asked her, "What do you have to gain? Are you a scorned woman?" But she stood tall. I won't forget after the hearing and the confirmation, all of the bullying and the backlash. It is etched in my mind, the bumper sticker that I saw time and time again, "Honk if you think Anita lied." I knew then, as I know now, there is much work to do. Just ask Christine Blasey Ford. After law school, I was lucky enough to focus my practice on the representation of survivors of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and sexual abuse. And as soon as my law career began, so did my love affair with CAOC. I joined the organization right away. And after only 2 years of practice, I joined the board in 2003. I helped fight for the establishment of the new Lawyers Committee, and I did the same for the Women's Caucus. And then in 2010, my brother Vince Howard, Vince, where are you? My brother Vince Howard and I started the Diversity Committee because diverse members have been underrepresented, not just in this organization, but in the bar in general. And it is time to include them in everything we do. So I submit to you over the next year, if you want to join us, I will honor your successes, I will recognize your struggles, I will make room for you at my table because you belong with us. Everyone is welcome at CAOC. Everyone is welcome. Todos sos bienvenido. Aloha and mahalo. Thank you.